Greetings friends and welcome back to Recon by Fire. For today's battle, the Grey Knights are playing the Sanctic Spearhead, which is the more vehicle heavy detachment. They are led by Castellan Crowe and a 10-man squad of Purifiers, a Grandmaster leading a 4-man squad of Terminators, a strike squad, 3 Grandmaster NDKs, one with the sigil of Exigence, 3 regular NDKs, and because I messed up the points when I was creating the list, an Inquisitor. Steve is in the building playing his Necrons in the HyperCrypt Detachment. He's bringing a Void Dragon, a Shard of the Nightbringer, a Plasmancer leading a 20-man squad of Warriors, a Monolith, a Skorpeck Lord leading a 6-man squad of Skorpeck Destroyers, a Technomancer attached to 6 Wraiths, a squad of DeathMarks, and finally a squad of Flayed Ones. We are playing Mission Packet Golf today, which is Purge the Foe. Deployment is Hammer and Anvil, and we're playing on terrain layout 8. Top of round 1 and the Necrons are going first. They will draw Sabotage, which they will ship with new orders for Overwhelming Force and Marked for Death as their secondaries for the turn. Marked for Death targets are all hidden behind cover, but they will Gamma target the forward Grandmaster NDK. Start of the movement phase and the Wraiths will roll a 1 on the advance, which is not good enough to get them where they need to be and will remain in place. Our apologies for the resolution and exposure on this camera. We were moving things around a little bit in hopes of improving the channel, so bear with us, we'll correct it by the next video. That is going to end a quick turn for the Necrons. They will hold on to Overwhelming Force for next turn and discard Marked for Death for a command point. At the end of the turn, Grey Knights will pick up the Terminator squad and the Grandmaster NDK with the sigil of Exigence. Bottom of round 1 and the Grey Knights will draw Bring It Down and Cleanse as their secondaries for the turn. The strike squad will sticky the home objective. Start of the movement phase, NDK will push towards the natural expansion. The second NDK will follow suit, making sure to stay out of line of sight and staging for next turn. Grandmaster NDK will auto advance 6 inches to get onto the Necron's natural expansion and get line of sight on the Flayed Ones. Second Grandmaster will do the same, also being able to shoot down the firing lane. Strike squad will move towards the center but remain out of sight. Crowe and company are going to reposition to continue to screen out the backfield. In order to avoid a choke point, the third NDK will reposition towards the southern edge of the board. Terminators will arrive out of deep strike onto the natural expansion. Start of the shooting phase and both Grandmasters that have line of sight on the Flayed Ones will open fire and they manage to scoop up the entire squad. That is going to end the turn for the Grey Knights. The Terminator squad will cleanse for 2 points. They will discard Bring It Down for a command point and score 4 points on primary for taking down the Flayed Ones. At the end of the turn, Necrons will pick up the Nightbringer, the Void Dragon, and the Monolith. Top of round 2 for the Necrons, they have Overwhelming Force from last turn and will draw Storm Hostile Objective as their secondaries for the turn. They're behind by 6 points and will draw Renewed Focus as their challenger card. They hold but do not hold more and will score 4 points on primary. Start of the movement phase, the Wraiths will roll a 4 on the advance and make it all the way onto the natural expansion. The Monolith will arrive on the center of the field and manages to squeeze in 9 inches away from all the Grey Knights. Using the Monolith's datasheet ability, the Skorpeck Lord and Destroyers will arrive within 6 inches of the Monolith. DeathMarks will arrive near where the Flayed Ones were massacred in order to screen out any deep strikes. The Nightbringer will arrive behind the building to continue that screen. Void Dragon will show up on the opposite corner in order to support the Wraiths. Grey Knights are going to use the Grandmaster's ability for a free rapid ingress, bringing the Grandmaster near the Monolith, but unfortunately has to be behind the wall to avoid getting shot. Start of the shooting phase, the Monolith will fire everything into the Grandmaster nearest the board edge and brings it down to just 6 wounds remaining. Skorpeck Lord will fire his pistol into the NDK and leaves him at just 3 wounds remaining. Start of the charge phase, and the Necrons will spend 2 command points to allow the destroyers to charge, and they'll make the dual charge into both NDKs. Destroyers send their impact mortals into the wounded Grandmaster and pick him up. With only 1 Grandmaster remaining, all the destroyer attacks will go into it. Command reroll to try to save it on the last strike, but it fails and down goes the second NDK. That is going to end a strong turn for the Necrons. They will score 5 points for overwhelming force, 4 points for storm hostile objective, and 3 points for renewed focus. At the end of the turn, Grey Knights will pick up the Purifier squad, as well as the Strike squad. Bottom of round 2 for the Grey Knights, they will draw overwhelming force and extend battle lines as their secondaries for the turn. They hold but do not hold more and will score 4 points on primary. Start of the movement phase, Terminators will move through the wall to set up a potential charge into the DeathMarks. Crowe and the Purifiers are going to arrive from deep strike 9 inches away from the destroyers, getting everyone in line of sight. NDK is going to advance to get on the other side of the ruins with line of sight into both the Skorpeck Lord and the Monolith. Grandmaster NDK will spend a command point to be able to move through the wall and will get as close to the Monolith as possible. Second NDK believes focus fire is key and will also advance towards the Monolith. There's no kill like overkill, and the third NDK will follow suit. Strikes will arrive from deep strike onto the natural expansion. Start of the shooting phase, the Grandmaster NDK will fire into the Monolith. In response, Necrons are going to spend a command point to give it a 4+ Anvil, and it goes down to 18 wounds. 2 regular NDKs will fire into the Monolith and only knock off 3 wounds. Purifiers and Crowe are going to open fire into the Destroyer squad, managing to pick up all the destroyers and leaving the Skorpeck Lord at just 3 wounds remaining. Third and final NDK will fire into the wounded Skorpeck Lord and picks him up. Into the charge phase, the NDK will make a 6-inch charge into the Monolith, and it will stay as far away from the Void Dragon as possible. Second NDK will make it in as well with a 7 and leaves room for the Grandmaster. Grandmaster NDK also needs a 7 and rolls a 4 command reroll, and it rolls a 4 again. Oh no, that's right, that was 3 command points to do absolutely nothing. Third NDK decides to take his spot in the party and makes it into the Monolith with a 9. Grandmaster and the Terminators make the charge into the DeathMarks. They will body block themselves to make sure at least one of them is still able to consolidate back onto the objective. No interrupts available, so the Terminators will swing into the DeathMarks and make short work of them. First NDK swings into the Monolith. In response, Necrons will spend a command point to give the Monolith a 4+ Anvil, and it knocks off 6 wounds. Second NDK swings into the Monolith, and it fails 1 too many Anvils, and it gets picked up. It does not explode. That is going to end the turn for the Grey Knights. They will score 5 points for overwhelming force, 4 points for extend battle lines, and score 8 points for kill and kill more. Necrons scored a kill and will score 4 points on primary. Necrons are going to pick up the Void Dragon and the Nightbringer. Top of round 3, the Necrons will draw extend battle lines and recover assets as their secondaries for the turn. Their challenger card is Burst of Speed. They hold but do not hold more and will score 4 points on primary. Start of the movement phase, and the Wraiths are going to move towards the center, making sure to fly over the nearest NDK. Warriors and company are going to all enter the building to be able to shoot out and into the NDK. Void Dragon is going to arrive from strategic reserves, squeezing himself in where the destroyers were. Nightbringer will literally land its feet on top of the remains of the Skorpeck Lord. Wraiths will drop their flyby mortals on the NDK, scoring 3 wounds. Plasmancer, leading the warriors, will fire its psychic attack into the NDK, knocking off 4 more wounds. Warriors fire everything into the wounded NDK and easily take it off the board. Technomancer and the Wraiths will fire into the remaining NDK and knock off 2 wounds, bringing it down to 11. Void Dragon throws its spear into the NDK, leaving it at just 5 wounds remaining. Breath weapon will go into the Purifiers, but the one that's in cover takes it like a champ. Lastly, the Gaze of Death from the Nightbringer will go into the wounded NDK and makes short work of it. Nightbringer needs a 9 to make it into the Purifiers and rolls a 7. Wraiths, on the other hand, have a strong charge with an 11 and make it into the NDK on the center objective. Greyknights will use the Grandmaster's discount for a free heroic intervention. Void Dragon into the Purifiers and needs a 10 but rolls a 9. Oh, so close. Wraiths send all their attacks into the standard NDK and bring it down to just 10 wounds remaining. Greyknights will activate the Grandmaster first and spend a command point to give it precision going after the Technomancer. They call the squad durable for a reason and it survives at 1 wound. Standard Dread Knight swings, but the Wraiths make all of their saves. That is going to end the turn for the Necrons. They will score 4 points for extend battle lines, discard recover assets for a command point, and 3 points for burst of speed. At the end of the turn, Greyknights will pick up Crowe and the Purifiers, as well as the Terminator squad. Bottom of round 3, and the Greyknights will draw Assassination and No Prisoners as their secondaries for the turn. They hold, but do not hold more, and will score 4 points on primary. Strike Squad will sanctify the objective they're on and sticky it. They'll spend a command point on Armored Aegis, healing the NDK back up to full. It will proceed to fall back just outside of engagement range. Greyknights will then spend a command point on Redoubled Assault, allowing the Grandmaster Dread Knight to fall back, shoot, and charge. Crowe and company are going to arrive 12 inches away from the Warriors to avoid the Overwatch, and the Terminator squad will arrive 9 inches away behind cover. Start of the shooting phase, Grandmaster NDK will fire into the Wraiths, picking up the Technomancer and a single Wraith. Nemesis Dread Knight will fire into the same squad, picking up 1 and leaving another at just 3 wounds. Crowe and the Purifiers open fire on the Warriors, and they manage to pick up 18 of them. Terminators fire into the Warriors, picking up the 2 remaining ones, preventing them from regenning next turn, and leave the Plasmancer down to only 2 wounds remaining. Start of the charge phase, and the Dread Knight will make it back into the Wraiths with double 1s. Grandmaster rolls an 8 and is back in as well. On to the fight phase, the Grandmaster will swing into the Wraiths, picking up the wounded one. Nemesis Dread Knight swings into the same Wraiths, picking up 3 of them, command reroll in hopes of keeping 1 alive, but it fails. At the end of the turn, Necrons will pick up the Plasmancer and the Void Dragon. They'll score 4 points for earning a kill. Greyknights will score 5 points for Assassination and 5 points for No Prisoners, as well as 8 points for Kill and Kill More. Top of round 4 for the Necrons, they will draw Display of Might and bring it down as their secondaries for the turn. Challenger card for the turn is Strategic Retreat. They hold but do not hold more and will score 4 points on primary. Start of the movement phase, and the Nightbringer will head towards the 2 remaining Dread Knights. Void Dragon will arrive from Strategic Reserves with line of sight on the Strike Squad. Plasmancer will arrive on the objective, taking it over from the Nightbringer. Start of the shooting phase, the Plasmancer will fire its psychic ability into the Grandmaster, not triggering Sigil of Exigence, and knocks it down to 11 wounds. It then fires its weapon into the Nemesis Dread Knight, also taking it down to 11. Nightbringer into the NDK, and it's down to 4 wounds. Void Dragon sends everything into the Strike Squad, and they manage to only lose a single model. It's charge o'clock, and the Nightbringer makes it into the Grandmaster with a 9. Void Dragon into the Strike Squad, it rolls a 9, but because they pulled the closest model, it needed a 10. Command reroll, and another 9. On to the fight phase, the Nightbringer swings into the Grandmaster, almost taking it down. In response, Greyknights will spend 1 command point for True Silver Will, giving it a 4+ Feel No Pain into the mortals from its dev wounds, and it survives at just 2 wounds remaining. Grandmaster will crack back, and after everything is all said and done, the Nightbringer will take a single wound. At the end of the fight phase, the Nightbringer will dish out mortal wounds, failing to hit the Grandmaster, but taking the NDK down to a single wound. That is going to end the turn for the Necrons. They will score 3 points for Strategic Retreat, hold on to bring it down for next turn, and discard Display of Might for a command point. Grey Knights are going to pick up the Strike Squad, Castellan Crowe and the Purifiers, as well as the NDK that is holding on for dear life. Bottom of round 4 for the Grey Knights, they will draw Secure No Man's Land and establish Locust as their secondaries for the turn. They hold but do not hold more and will score 4 points on primary. Start of the movement phase, the Grandmaster succeeded its leadership check and will fall back from the Nightbringer. Necrons are going to take this opportunity to fire Overwatch with the Void Dragon, and it takes the Grandmaster down. That is huge, as it will score them bring it down. Terminators are going to move on to the Necrons' home objective to establish Locust. The wounded NDK will show up in the back corner, hopefully hiding from all the C'tans. The Strike Squad will take the opposite corner, hoping to remain out of line of sight and also screen out the Deep Strike. Crowe and company will arrive 12 inches away from the Plasmancer, but looking to finally take it down. Start of the shooting phase, Crowe into the Plasmancer, and yep, they pick him up. That is going to end the turn for the Grey Knights. They will score 2 points for Secure No Man's Land thanks to the sticky objective, and 4 points for Established Locust. Both armies scored a kill, but not kill more, and will generate 4 points for primary. Necrons are only going to pick up the Void Dragon. Bottom of round 5, and the Necrons will draw Secure No Man's Land and Area Denial as their secondaries for the turn. Pivotal Moment is their challenger card. They hold but do not hold more and will score 4 points on primary. Start of the movement phase, and the Void Dragon will come down with line of sight on the NDK. Straight into shooting, Void Dragon into the wounded NDK. Command reroll to try to keep it alive, but no joy, and down goes the final Dread Knight. That is going to end the turn for the Necrons. They will score 2 points for Secure No Man's Land, 5 points for Area Denial, 3 points for Pivotal Moment, and 4 points for killing. At the end of the turn, Grey Knights are going to pick up the Strike Squad, Crowe and the Purifiers, as well as the Terminator Squad. Bottom of round 5 for the Grey Knights, they will draw a tempting target and immediately ship it with new orders for Storm Hostile Objective and Behind Enemy Lines as their secondaries for the turn. No Good Plan relies on making a bunch of 9-inch charges, so they decide to just put everyone back on the Necron's home objective, failing to score kill, but scoring hold and hold more. This will give them 8 points on primary and 4 points for Behind Enemy Lines. This will make the final score with paint 79 to 85 in favor of the Sons of Titan. Thank you so much, Steve, for coming out and playing with us. We really do appreciate it. And thank you, the viewer, for watching. If you made it this far in the video, how about you drop us a like and tell your friends about us, as it would mean a lot to us. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, as always, friends, happy gaming.